President Biden with a stark warning for American voters.
There's something dangerous happening in America now. There's an extremist movement that does not share the basic beliefs in our democracy, the MAGA movement.
The president issuing a blistering critique of the far-right wing of the House GOP.
Extremists in Congress more determined to shut down the government, to burn the place down.
And making a not-so-subtle reference to his top 2024 rivals, Trump and DeSantis.
Consider these as actual quotes from MAGA, the MAGA movement. Quote, "I am your retribution." Slitting throats of civil servants.
The impassioned speech from battleground Arizona, the state whose 2020 election results Trump tried to overturn.
The defeated former president expressed when he was in office and believes applies only to him. And this is a dangerous notion. This president is above the law, no limits. Trump says the Constitution gave him, quote, "the right to do whatever he wants as president," end of quote.
It's a familiar rebuke from Biden, spurred to run for president while watching the Charlottesville riots, cautioning on political violence from Capitol Hill to Independence Hall ahead of the midterms.
Equality and democracy are under assault.
This address just one day after the Republican debate, where 2024 hopefuls fought for airtime on the debate stage at the Reagan Library. Biden unveiling a library for his late friend and longtime Senator John McCain, says not all Republicans are extreme.
For John, it was country first, honor, duty, decency, freedom, liberty, democracy. And now history has brought us to a new time of testing.
And that another era of cooperation is within reach.
Will we put partisanship aside and put country first? I say we must, and we will. We will.
Meanwhile, lawmakers in Washington appear farther apart than ever, with Republicans embarking on hearings to impeach the president and barreling toward a government shutdown that could begin this weekend. Wolf?
All right, Kayla Tausche at the White House for us. Thank you, Kayla. Let's break all of this down with our political experts. And Gloria Borger, let me start with you. This was a very stark warning from President Biden today. I want you to take a look at this exit poll from the 2022 midterm elections. You see it there. In this exit poll, 68% of voters said they agree that democracy in the United States is threatened. Is this an issue that you believe will continue to resonate with voters going forward?
Well, I think it will, and I think that Joe Biden's audience was those anti-Trump Republicans and independent voters. Don't forget, he did this in the state of Arizona, which is, of course, a battleground state. He won last time, but it's very, very important to him. I think what we saw today was a different Joe Biden. He's been out there talking about Bidenomics, and it has not resonated. The poll numbers show that people in this country believe he hasn't done a good job on the economy. And he's been pushed by a lot of Democratic strategists to start taking on Donald Trump directly, and that is what he did today. And what he said that sort of was very affecting, I think, was you can't love your country only when you win. And I think that was his sort of message to the public, which is beware. And he went point by point by point over things that Donald Trump has said, threatening Milley, for example, the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs, saying, "I am your retribution." And I think it was an important shift in Biden's tone and kind of foreshadows what we're going to see.
It's interesting, Scott Jennings. President Biden claims that today's Republican Party, in his words, is driven and intimidated by Trump and MAGA Republicans. Is it?
Well, some people certainly are. And to Gloria's point, the people he's trying to appeal to with a speech like this, he wants to hearken back to a Republican Party that they remember that came before Trump. You know, people who might remember Ronald Reagan or might remember Mitt Romney or, other kinds of people. And he doesn't have to get all the Republicans. He's just looking to slice off a few because, you think about this race being run in 4 states and maybe 70,000 people could make the difference. You get just a sliver of those Republicans that you would ordinarily depend on to vote for the party to switch sides, and you could be home.
Ashley Etienne's with us as well. Ashley, President Biden today, he directly went after Trump. Until now, basically, he was avoiding talking too much about Trump, as you well know. Is this effectively now the beginning of the campaign, Trump and Biden?
I mean, I sure hope so. I mean, I think if Biden doesn't do it, who's going to take it to Donald Trump? Because the Republicans haven't proven that they're interested in taking it to Donald Trump. But here's the thing. Gloria pointed out a really good line. The line that I appreciated most was that he made the point that this issue of democracy is not a partisan issue. It's an American issue. And wherein I agree with the president on that, I also agree with Judge Leggett, who actually testified at the January 6th hearing, the conservative judge, who said that the party that is tearing down democracy has to be responsible for building it back up again, that the Republican Party now has to be part of the coalition that's building up the democracy and securing democracy. And we're not currently seeing that from the Republican Party. They continue to turn a deaf ear and lie and deceive the American public about Donald Trump's attempts to overturn the election and the threat that he presents to democracy. So for me, I agree with the judge. That's the greatest threat to democracy. If we don't have two healthy parties at the table, what do we have?